In this lecture, we will learn about installing Helm charts. After identifying the chart, we deploy the chart by executing the Helm install command, followed by the name that we want to give to this release, followed by a reference to the chart. We have seen that a release is a single installation of a Helm chart, so whenever we install a Helm chart, a new release will be created. For example, for installing the Nginx chart that belongs to the Bitnami repository that we have added to our local Helm client, we execute the Helm install command followed by my Nginx release, which is the name that we want to give to this release, followed by bitnami/WordPress, the reference to the chart that we want to install. By executing this command, a new release will be created. We can view all the releases that are deployed by executing the Helm list command. When we execute the Helm list command, we get a list of releases. For each one, we get the release name, the namespace to which this release belongs to, the current revision number. We have talked about revisions and we will talk more about them in the upcoming lectures. We get also the last time this release was updated, the release date, the chart version, and finally the application version. Instead of specifying the release name when executing the Helm install command, we can use the generate name option to tell Helm to generate a name for that release. For example, when executing the Helm install command followed by bitnami/nginx with the generate name option, Helm will create a new release based on this chart and will generate a name for that release that will be displayed in the output of the Helm install command. So now if we list the releases that are deployed, we should see two releases. Both of them are based on the Bitnami Nginx chart. We can view the manifest file of the resources that will be created when deploying the chart using the dry run option set to client when executing the Helm install command. For example, when executing the Helm install command followed by the release name and the chart reference with the dry run option set to client, we should see the configuration of all the resources that will be created, but for simplicity we display here just the first part of the output of the Helm install command. With the dry run option set to client, the Helm install command will simulate an installation of the chart without really installing the chart and without creating any object. And of course, we can create different releases based on the same chart or based on different charts at the same time. For example, here we create a new release called WordPress app based on the Bitnami WordPress chart. So if we list the releases again, we should see three releases. Two releases are based on the Bitnami Nginx chart, and the third one is based on the Bitnami WordPress chart. We have other options that can be useful when working with the Helm install command. For example, the atomic option to delete the installation if the installation process fails, the create namespace option to create the namespace if it doesn't exist. We have also the repo option to give the chart repository URL if the chart repository was not added to the local Helm client. And we can view all the options that can be used with the Helm install command by executing the Helm install command with the help option. After installing the chart, we can check the state of a release by executing the Helm status command followed by the release name. For example, to check the state of the release called my Nginx release created previously, we execute the Helm status command followed by the release name. When executing this command, many details about this release will be displayed, including the last deployment time, the namespace in which this release lives, the state of the release, the current revision, and additional notes provided by the chart. In case we want to view the resources part of a specific release, we execute the Helm status command with the show resources option. When using the show resources option, in addition to the information we have talked about earlier, the Helm status command will show you all the resources that are created when this release was created. And we can view the manifests of these resources by executing the Helm get manifest command followed by the release name. So that's all for now. I hope that everything is clear and see you next time.